There was a boy named Aaron who lived in a small town surrounded by quiet hills. He was known as the one with big dreams. He wanted to become a writer, travel the world, and inspire people with his words. Everyone around him would say, "Aaron is so full of potential." But Aaron had a habit. He always said, "I'll do it tomorrow." Each morning, he'd wake up late, scroll through his phone, and say to himself, "It's okay, I'll write something later." Days turned into weeks. His notebook stayed blank, untouched. His ideas faded. Whenever someone asked about his goals, he'd smile and reply, "I'm thinking about it. I just need the right moment." One afternoon, Aaron sat by the window watching rain fall quietly over the street. He thought about how quickly the year had passed. He whispered, "Where did the time go?" But quickly brushed it off and opened another video on his phone. Somewhere deep inside, a small voice tried to speak, but the noise of habit was louder. What Aaron didn't realize was that time wasn't waiting. It never did. One evening, Aaron's grandfather, an old man with calm eyes and slow steps, visited their house. He found Aaron lying on the couch, headphones in, laughing at a comedy clip. The old man sat beside him without saying a word. After a few minutes, he gently asked, "How's your writing going?" Aaron shrugged. "I'll start soon. Just waiting for the right inspiration." His grandfather nodded, looked out the window, then said, "Let me tell you a story." Aaron smiled politely. He had heard dozens of stories from him before, but this time the tone felt different. "There was a king," the old man began, "who ruled a vast kingdom. He was strong and smart, but he loved comfort. Every time he had an idea, he would say, 'Not now. Tomorrow will be better.' So his ideas stayed in his mind, never on paper, never in action." Aaron raised an eyebrow, sensing something familiar. His grandfather continued, "One day, when the king finally decided to act, he was old. His strength had faded. His hands trembled. The people had stopped listening. And all the things he could have built were gone with time." Aaron didn't say anything at first. He just looked down, his fingers still tapping against his phone. His grandfather stood up slowly, walked toward the door, and turned back once more. "The king had one thing he never got back," he said. "Time. That's the one gift we waste thinking it will come again." That night, Aaron couldn't sleep. The story kept looping in his mind like a song he couldn't silence. He thought about all the plans he had made, all the notebooks still empty, all the mornings lost to scrolling, the afternoons spent saying, "Later." And it finally hit him. Nothing changes unless I do. He sat up in bed, grabbed a pen, and wrote one line in his dusty notebook. "Today is better than tomorrow." It wasn't perfect. It didn't have to be. And that was the beginning. If this story speaks to you, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss these quiet reminders to stay awake to your time. The next morning, Aaron woke up before the sun. It wasn't easy. His body begged him to sleep more. His mind offered excuses. But he remembered the story. He remembered the king. So he got up. He opened his notebook and wrote 3 more lines. Not perfect, still messy, but they were his. They existed. That night, he wrote again. Then, the next day. Something started shifting. His mind, once crowded with distractions, began clearing. The fog of "I'll do it later" started to lift. People around him noticed. His mother smiled when she saw him scribbling on the porch. His teacher, surprised, praised his first submitted piece. And Aaron didn't talk about writing anymore. He just did it. He wasn't writing a novel. He was writing himself back into his own life. And every sentence, every page, every quiet moment spent in discipline was time claimed back from the hands of regret. Weeks passed, and Aaron kept showing up. No one told him to. No one clapped. And yet, he kept going. The routine was quiet, almost invisible, but inside, something powerful was growing, a sense of control, of purpose, of becoming. One day, his grandfather returned and found Aaron sitting at the same window, notebook in hand, scribbling quietly. The old man didn't interrupt. He just watched. After a while, Aaron looked up and said, "I think I finally understand the king." His grandfather smiled. "Then you're already richer than he ever was." They sat in silence, the kind that didn't feel empty. Aaron no longer needed to chase big moments. He had learned something better, the magic of starting and the strength of staying. And though nothing around him had changed much, inside, everything had shifted. One evening, as Aaron flipped through the pages of his notebook, he noticed something he hadn't expected. Growth. Not just in his words, but in his thinking. The early pages were scattered, uncertain, filled with hesitation. But over time, his thoughts had gained weight. His lines became clearer, his rhythm steadier. He smiled at a line he had once written without thinking. "Today is better than tomorrow." Back then, it was a sentence. Now, it was a truth he lived by. At school, others started to notice the change. Not just in his work, but in the way he carried himself. He no longer avoided eye contact. He spoke less, but when he did, it was with intent. A classmate once asked, "What happened to you?" Aaron just said, "I stopped waiting." Because deep down, he knew that waiting is a silent thief. It steals minutes, days, and years, all while whispering, "You have time." But time doesn't wait, and Aaron had decided he wouldn't either. There came a moment, a cold, grey morning, when Aaron sat quietly in class, and the teacher asked each student to share something they were proud of. Most talked about awards, grades, or sports. Aaron hesitated. Then slowly, he raised his hand. "I wake up early," he said. "I write every day. No one sees it, but I do it." The room fell quiet. Not out of awkwardness, but out of recognition. There was something powerful in those simple words. He didn't need applause. He wasn't seeking praise. He had become someone who did things because they mattered to him. Later that day, one of his classmates caught up with him. "You inspired me," she said. "I've been putting things off too." Aaron nodded. "Start today, even if it's small." He realized that the discipline he'd built in silence had started to echo beyond him. He wasn't just reclaiming his own time. He was helping others do the same. That evening, Aaron returned to the same window where it had all started. The sky looked the same, but he wasn't. He was no longer waiting for motivation, the perfect mood, or the right time. He had traded all of that for something more reliable: action. He opened his notebook and read a few pages in silence. Then, he closed it gently, not because he was done, but because he knew he'd return tomorrow, and the next day, and the one after that. Outside, people rushed past. Screens lit up, notifications buzzed. But inside that quiet room, something rare was happening. A life was being built, one page at a time. Because the truth is, time doesn't knock loudly. It slips by unnoticed. And those who wait for it to return are left holding empty plans. But those who act, even silently, even imperfectly, build something lasting. So don't wait until it's too late. Begin.